normal.
Chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger roll with planet.
Water towers can fly! Yes!
Tango Delta nominal.
Flight outside SC off. Bring in SC off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.
Oh, wait. Wrong camera. Sorry.
Oh no.
Wait. Also, wait. Sorry, wrong camera. That's also the wrong camera. Wait. Literally none of these are the right camera. Hang on. Oh, sorry, Nick. Wait. Sorry. Okay. Whew. Nick, start the stream. Go.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our coverage of this Starlink mission on this beautiful Saturday evening here from the Cape. Give us a 5x5 in the chat if you can hear us, and make sure that we are all moving along in the correct way. It looks like poor DOS was clicking the wrong buttons there, as he typically does. My goodness, we need to find some better help around here. Apparently, need to talk to the Chris's about that. But
so many cameras, though. There's cameras. It's just so many cameras to juggle. Nick, jeez, come on.
Well, I don't know. We do it at Starbase. You should be able to do it in Florida. I don't know what the problem is.
Cut me some slack.
Never. Well, thanks for pushing the buttons, DOS. We appreciate it. DOS is going to be on the stream here, pushing buttons and pulling levers, hopefully making sure that he is keeping his job around here at NASASpaceflight. In the field, we have lovely Julia and Thomas. Thomas is providing us a live view, and I believe we have Thomas on comms as well. How are you doing, Thomas?
You sure do. How you doing, Nick? It's a lovely evening for another rocket launch from here on the Space Coast.
Wonderful. And I don't hear any big wind noise in the background, and I don't see you holding an umbrella facing the camera pretending to be blown away by the wind. So I'm assuming as of right now there's no big wind, right?
No, right now we're okay. We'll come back to me in a couple of days, check on Space Coast Live in a couple of days. We'll see what's going on. But right now we're all good.
Okay, well, thank you, Thomas. Thanks for being there, Thomas and Julia. And also with me in the studio, we have Alex helping provide some commentary and general information, because he is probably the smartest person I know when it comes to space stuff. Alex, how are you doing?
Nah, that's not true. You know, a lot of people that know a lot about space. Come on.
I don't know. You're up there, buddy.
Well, okay, but I'm always glad to be here and commentating. It's been a few days since my last commentary. I'm glad to be back.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming back, and it's good to have you back more regularly on these streams. And I just got a ping. It looks like also Julia's on comms. How are you doing, Julia?
Why, hello there, Nick. I am doing well. I'm enjoying a sunset with the VAB behind us, all these camera views that we have. I mean, I'm excited for this stream.
Man, me too. I'm kind of jealous. That sounds nice. The VAB and a sunset. Nothing quite like that, huh?
Nothing like that, but you do have some pretty views down there at Starbase.
Yeah, on occasion. Hey, well, thanks all for joining us for this Starlink launch. What is this, Starlink 435, if I recall correctly? There's a lot of these Starlink missions. My goodness. It's hard to keep track of. And Alex, this mission is actually kind of a special one for SLC-40, right?
Yeah, so now that you said how many Starlinks, I've actually checked, and this is the 62nd dedicated launch of Starlink. So
wow.
There's been other launches where they have launched Starlinks, but like as rideshare missions on other missions, whereas it's 62 dedicated just for Starlink. So this is actually a little bit special because this pad, if you remember well, just 6 days ago we had the launch of a Starship, or not a Starship, of a Starlink. Oh, geez. I do wish for Starship to launch, but not that close. Just 6 days ago, we had the Starlink Group 434 launch, and this is a record. The actual record is right now 7 days, 16 hours, and 7 minutes, and this will be 5 days, 23 hours, and 14 minutes after the previous launch from this very same pad. The rocket is different. This is booster B1073-4. It's a rookie one, unlike the other one from the last launch. But it actually started its record career as a Starlink launch. It actually was the first Starlink launch to fly on a new booster. That was kind of interesting, and eventually it will launch as a Falcon Heavy side booster at some point, but
Ooh.
we'll see. And also the other thing that I would like to point out, this is the 150th launch since the AMO 6 failure back in September 2016, 6 years ago. So that's a lot of launches, but it is also quite a round number, I will say. It's like 150 launches since that. Well, 150 that have been seeking to reach orbit, because there's also the in-flight abort test, which was suborbital launch, and it was obviously successful, but it didn't reach orbit. But yeah, that will be the 150th launch since that failure during that static fire. So that really proves you how well and experienced Falcon 9 is as a rocket.
Absolutely, that is awesome, and thanks for that update there. I think you might have said that, but I believe we did have a question from someone, and I'm struggling to find it. But someone asked which booster that was, and I'm sorry I cannot find who asked it. But which booster was that?
B1073.
73, B1073.
It's launching from the 4th time. This is actually its 3rd Starlink launch. It flew an SES mission, SES-22, back in June, if I remember correctly. And this is the 3rd launch for Starlink. So it's
Awesome.
practically a Starlink booster now.
It's just a Starlink booster. I love that. And these quick
Internet
turnaround
rocket.
times. These quick turnaround times are just showing how reliable Falcon 9 has proven itself to be and continuing to. So,
and we're
that
going
is
to see
awesome.
many, this same pad, now 39A, is a little bit kind of, let's say it's busy with other rocket preparations with the Starship, obviously, but it's also being, in just a week and a half, maybe depending on the weather, we'll see. We may see another crew launch from 39A, and there's a few Falcon Heavies coming down the line, so it's gonna be a little bit kind of busy.
Wow.
And it's funny you mentioned that, Alex, because for the let's say the Space Coast Live viewers that have the attention to detail, they might have noticed that the transporter erector at 39A just the last couple of days picked up the reaction frame and carried it back to the horizontal integration facility so that they can integrate the Crew 5 stack, the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon, for the Crew 5 mission. And those are the preparations that we can now provide live views of on Space Coast Live, the new 24/7 Kennedy Space Center feed. So people might have picked up on that.
It's true. It just makes my life a little bit more difficult when I need to click on the right camera.
Yes.
A worthy price to pay.
Yeah.
Everyone wondering if DOS will ever have too many cameras. We might be approaching that number.
Nope.
No? Okay.
Nope. That's not a thing. Come on, really? Who are you kidding, Nick?
We'll always have more cameras. Who are we kidding?
You know what our viewers pointed out to me, Das?
What?
The 2nd anniversary of Fleet Cam is coming up in October, and a cake is needed. So, if I remember correctly, wasn't Fleet Cam like kind of the guinea pig camera?
It was. I mean, the Fleet Cam was the first 24/7 stream that we deployed, and it has been running there at the Cape at the port, I guess, for almost 2 years. It's coming up like October, if I'm not mistaken. And
October 20th, yeah.
October 20th, there you go. I remember I was out there 2 years ago installing that first camera, and we had a lot less. We knew what we were doing a lot less back then. Let's put it that way. And Fleet Cam is ready for some upgrades. Let's say that. How's that?
But I can say that Fleet Cam is definitely hurricane ready. It is sturdy.
Don't jinx it.
Well, Space Coast Live is kind of an upgrade if you think about it. Eventually, we'll see some fleets coming into some of those feeds as well. So,
yep.
True.
You got it.
It's also kind of like Fleet Cam of sorts. See what I did there?
Oh boy. Well, hey, if y'all have any questions, you remember you can always chat them at us in the live chat down below at NASASpaceflight, tagging us. We'll put it in our queue to get them answered. If you have any burning questions you want answered by anyone here on the team, I do have some questions pulled up here. But before we get to the questions, I got to give a huge shout out and thank you to Jerwa, who was very generous and provided us with some very generous support, and we're extremely grateful for that. And he said, can I please ask that you say hello to my grandson Liam, who is watching with me? Well, hello, Liam.
Hey, Liam. How's it going?
Thanks for watching and joining this beautiful Starlink launch on this very gorgeous. Like I bet you the sunset right behind you guys is really pretty, huh, Thomas? Or Julia too.
If only we
I see you're
had like
unmuted.
some people here that are like really talented at photography and might be able to document that and share with the class. You know.
Yeah, we'll need to talk to someone about that. Julia. Yes. Well, thank you very much. And yeah, Liam, glad you're here. Glad you're joining us on this gorgeous evening. This is probably the most important question we'll have of the entire evening. Christine F is asking, do the 4 lightning towers have names?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Oh,
There you go.
Which is which? No, I'm kidding.
Well, we'll need some DOS art to show us exactly
You
which
have to
one is
play
which.
eeny, meeny, miny, mo to figure that out. Y'all have fun with that.
I see. Well, this is also a good question from Jason Russell asking, any chance of a jellyfish tonight?
Time is sundown.
I believe we are going to be only 15 minutes after sunset or so. So we're right on the period of time where it could happen. We don't like to promise it because, well, sometimes the clouds and things get in the way, and it can vary, but the timing is right. So maybe.
Nice.
And
We
you
will
should
have
get
to
better.
see. Yeah, go, Alex.
Yeah, I was thinking you should get better if you're like up the coast, because as it goes northeast, you're probably more likely to be in darkness while the plume is gonna be more illuminated. So it's like probably in Florida it's gonna be too soon after sunset. There's probably gonna be some illumination, natural illumination from twilight, but up the coast you might be darker in those places. So maybe down there is gonna be even more impressive, and sometimes it is, but might have to ask some people at the coast when the launch happens.
Too bad we won't have any live stream cameras of this launch,
Yeah, from up coast yet. Don't tempt us.
DOS is going to drive over there real quick, install a camera. We have 29 minutes and 30 seconds. We got plenty of time to set up a new camera, right, DOS?
I mean, I'm pretty busy right now, honestly.
Okay.
Well, I have a question. My question is, where should I be pointing all these? No, I'm not typing it in the chat. Seriously, I exert executive privilege to ask my question.
Go for it.
Like I have so many cameras, and I don't know which camera to point where, which is an interesting problem to have. Like, I'm gonna set this one up wide and set this one up narrow, and then, I mean, do we want to try and get the light reflecting off the VAB or something, or should we make this try to get the sunset? Or, I mean, we have 3 new cameras there that are full-time at the press site, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to point them at.
Whew. Sounds like a good problem to have there, DOS.
It is. It's a good problem to have.
Oh my goodness. Well, DOS figures that out. Let's hit some more super chats here and support. Wow, we have some new Capcom membership giftings. Thank you so much, Gosh. Oh boy, I'm really bad at reading names. Gosh Kata, 58, gifted. Oh no, sorry, became. My goodness. Whew. Need to pause for a second. Thank you for becoming a new Capcom member. I hope you enjoy all of the perks that are involved with our Capcom membership. And if I recall correctly, that includes Discord access, right, Alex?
Yeah, it does, and it also includes all the previews the lower tiers, which is, if I remember correctly, is Padrad and Red Team. So you can have access also to exclusive For Red Team, you have exclusive member content. We have some of the upcoming shots of Delta 4 Heavy, which launched from Vandenberg just an hour ago, and that should be gorgeous. We have all the team from the West Coast out there, so check that out if you want to actually see those behind the scenes. That should be great.
Absolutely, and I do have to apologize to Moldy Space Industries, who was the person who gifted 5 Red Team memberships. That's the original note that I thought I was looking at, and I got a little mixed up there. Sorry about that. But thank you, Moldy Space Industries, for gifting those memberships. If you are one of the people who received one of those memberships that Moldy Space has gifted, make sure to thank them in the chat and enjoy the Red Team membership and enjoy all the awesome content we have there. Let's see, got another awesome super chat and support from Musical Wolves, who typically Musical Wolves is one of the first people, but it looks like they have been helping a family member who's gotten really ill. And then they also ask a question, do the new Starlinks require any modifications to the fairings? As far as I know, these are the same Starlinks we've been launching before, right?
Yeah, they're the same Starlinks, the Starlink V1.5 variant of Starlink. And the new Starlinks, they're probably referring to the news that are launching on Starship, the Starlink V2s. But there's also a potential possibility that SpaceX could make like a mini version of a Starlink V2. Actually, Elon confirmed this a while ago on the T-Mobile event. And the SpaceX also had previously talked about that through the Federal Communications Commission. And that could be a possibility in case a Starship gets delayed, because of the usual technical issues that always occur with first time launches. That's totally normal, and so if that were to happen, you could still launch these Starlinks on Falcon 9, but obviously like a mini version, a smaller version of these Starlinks. Yep. I don't think that will require modification to the fairing itself. I think that they will just try to fit it as is without any further modifications.
Yes. And,
Before we dive
go
into
ahead,
more
Thomas.
questions, I want to point out something that we don't actually usually get on these Slick 40 launches, but since we've got the bit of a different point of view for this launch, you can get a really good view of the first stage getting frosty here.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're now looking kind of side on with the Falcon 9. The transporter erector is to the right side of the rocket. And so on that first stage tank, you can see where the tank is getting frosty, and that would be the liquid oxygen tank, right? Someone will correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
It should be
that's
the liquid.
the
Logically,
LOX
that's the
tank.
liquid
Yep.
oxygen. Yeah, I always think that's mixed up. But that's the liquid oxygen tank starting to gradually fill with propellants. And you can see that tank getting white, and the frost is overcoming the scorch of the booster's 3 previous flights. You can also maybe catch a glimpse of some vapors near the bottom of the rocket. We continue propellants on board for today's launch.
We might even see once they go, right before ignition. We might even see the deluge system. They had the Rainbirds thing on. It didn't used to be there, so it was more like a late addition to Pad 40. Probably because I was just thinking as to why, like in a flash second, I was thinking that that's probably related with all these modifications to support faster turnarounds. If you have more water, the launch deck and everything, like the launch mount and everything, doesn't get as damaged, for example. So you could probably launch faster and like more quickly. That could be a thing.
Too, if more water in the trench also means less rocket poop to scrape off in between, because rockets do leave residue there that could dislodge and damage engines.
Say rocket poop.
Yeah, I did, Das. I said rocket poop. It's a technical term.
Technical term.
Nice.
I like it. Okay. Oh wow! So they're obviously into fueling here, and we're gonna get the T-20 vent right fairly soon.
Yeah, that should be the end of the RP1 load on the second stage. So right now they are loading liquid oxygen on the first stage, and kerosene RP1 on both stages. But RP1 load will wrap up at T-minus 20 minutes on the upper stage, and the T-minus 20 vent is just basically them purging the lines ahead of liquid oxygen loading on the upper stage, which will begin at T-minus 16 minutes. And you actually will see that as soon as the T-minus 20 minute vent stops, that's around the T-minus 16 minute mark, which is that moment of loading the liquid oxygen on the second stage. It's kind of similar to how on Starship, for example, we see the OLM vent stop at propellant load onto the rocket. So that's sort of the same here. It's the same philosophy.
Wow. Thank you.
I always do the comparison with Falcon 9 when we're on a Starship stream, so I was like, I can do the opposite here.
Compare Falcon 9 to Starship. I like it. So let's see. Let's hit some more awesome support here. ML Web has gifted us some support, and we appreciate that. And they ask about the jellyfish effect and a viewing from Atlanta, Georgia, where they have clear skies. I don't know if Thomas or Julia or I'll throw this at everyone. Do you know if we'll have jellyfish visible from Georgia?
Atlanta might have a. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think they have a better chance than us possibly of jellyfish, to be honest, just because of where the rocket will be in the sky in relationship to the sun that is setting.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Ziggy Stardust coming in with some support for a bonus for new camera maintenance, and I think Das will put that to good work and make sure we keep those robots well fed. Das, what is the primary diet of those robots?
Electrons.
Electrons?
I mean, not really, because it's
Starbase. They eat photons, but I don't know what they do over there.
Realistically, they don't consume electrons, but they need like a difference in the energy levels of electrons. And it's not really that the electrons get used up, it's just that the difference gets used up. And a lot of it gets turned into heat anyways.
And there it goes.
But there's a 20-minute vent.
Say, anyone ever tell either of you are nerds?
You're the one who's yeah, that's me.
Nerd. Takes one to know in there, Thomas. Jeez.
But yes, T-minus 20-minute vent, so they have finished RP1 load into the second stage and are now going to purge the lines with that vent ahead of loading liquid oxygen onboard to the second stage. And first stage of propellant loading is still underway for both RP1 kerosene and liquid oxygen.
Yes, that's a good sign. We're moving towards a nominal launch, or as John Innsbrucker would say, a nominal launch. And okay, so Kelly Teacher here is bringing some love to the photographers. While I appreciate the robot army, the amazing live photographers with their unique perspective can never be replaced with a heart and a rocket emoji. I think that one's going to you, Thomas and Julia.
Couldn't agree more.
I heart you too. That's so sweet.
Definitely, and thank you.
Hey, you're also a photographer, Nick, so you should take that as well.
I'm not out there enough to be a photographer. Yeah, no,
well, you do your thing, but
I do my thing over here, but not over at the Cape. That's their stuff. Mark is saying looking forward to a great launch and great coverage. Thank you very much, Mark, for that support. And yes, we are also looking forward to an awesome launch, and hopefully we can make some good coverage. We'll see if DOS pushes the right buttons at the right time. But we'll try our best.
Intentionally not press the right buttons just because you keep saying that.
You should, just to prove how much we need to find someone else to do.
Who's in control here? I'm gonna push all the wrong buttons. Now, actually, I'm probably gonna mess something up. So, anyways,
just gonna mute me, and I'm just gonna be talking to myself all night long.
Nice.
Oh boy!
Hey, real quick, we're going to do a NASA spaceflight merch check. Team members are supposed to be wearing pieces of flair and merch, and so we're going to check in with Thomas and Julia over here. What are we wearing here today? Anybody recognize those shirts?
I know the one from Thomas.
How good is the Zoom?
Like
you can tell which one this is.
Yeah, I mean that's a legitimate shirt, right?
To Mars.
Okay, Julia.
I have a classic on today. Eat, sleep, launch, repeat.
Nice.
I
Both
love it.
Thomas and Julia passed the NSF merch check. You're allowed to continue watching the rocket launch. You don't have to go home right now. Clearly a joke.
Well, I would hope so. If I had to go home, you'd lose one of the cameras. So,
I'll just leave it there. It's fine.
Ooh.
oh, okay,
Hey, as soon as it
I
clears the
don't-
trees, I could track it. So
that's true, actually.
Oh my gosh.
continue, Nick. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. We're just going through some super chat support here. Wolfram says for the Gator Defense Gear Fund and the Mars Mosquito Repellent. Oh boy, how are the Gators over there in Florida? I'm so glad I don't have Gators.
The Gators are in
Starbase.
stealth mode right now, but that's when they're most dangerous. So I'll let you know if we see them.
Okay,
I have one of their
see 'em and
cousins
stay
here.
back.
No,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just I'm gonna say thank you to Thomas for putting us on the end of the press site where it's a steeper hill. Maybe that enables stealth more, but I won't see it coming.
Well, at least you won't be scared. Mark Lamb came in with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much for the support, Mark, and did not leave a question, but just wanted to say we do love you and thank you for that support. It means a lot. Let's see here. We have a question from let's see, there it is. Edgy43 saying, what does the tropical storm Ian mean for the SLS launch? Do they try to roll it back for safety? I know this is a Starlink launch, but I know we did have some news surrounding SLS today. Thomas, might you be able to give us a quick recap on what happened there?
Yeah, just as a Eastern Range status update. Basically, the teams are preparing to roll back. It sounds like that's the way they're leaning right now, out of an abundance of caution. They've already said they're not going to launch on their earliest opportunity on the 27th, although they haven't said anything about setting another launch date. They had previously reserved October 2nd as a launch date, but given that they're not even trying on the 27th, they could move one way or the other, or to target another launch this launch period. However, should Hurricane or Tropical Storm Ian about to become Hurricane Ian remain problematic, they will likely just roll back to the VAB and wait for the next launch period. They are making that final decision no earlier than tomorrow. So we'll expect another update on where but they're continuing to monitor the weather and monitor the likelihood that it would cause an issue for the rocket out at the launch pad. Also, even if they don't think it'll cause a problem with the rocket, but the weather will prevent a launch opportunity anyway, there's no use keeping it out there. So they would roll it back in that scenario too. But we expect to hear more on that tomorrow.
And I just want to toss something in as a local. I've lived here for 7 years, so I've seen a few hurricanes on the Space Coast, and I just want to let y'all know it's not an easy decision for NASA. As a resident, it's not an easy decision for us. Things don't really firm up until about maybe 2 days out, and that's why we're always prepared with supplies, because you really don't know, even with the great models and great satellites we have out there, exactly what's going to happen when it hits warm water. So I know we give them a lot of guff because, well, you got to roll back, you're going to stay out there. Well, it's a hard decision, and they're just gathering all the data they can, just like we as residents are.
I gotta chime in too real quick on that, because I grew up on the Gulf Coast down in Corpus Christi, Texas, and we dodged hurricanes, right? Not sticking out like Florida does, but we had hurricanes that would come in that way. And I remember as a kid dodging hurricanes or not, right? And it really is down to the day or two before it comes in. Like 2 days is probably a good thing. We would have never made any big decisions 5 days out, because you never know where they're going in. Are they going in the south of you, north of you? Are they going to turn? Are they going to weaken? Like what they're going to do? And I sort of feel for some of the NASA folks. Clearly, some things weren't said properly, but I understood sort of where they were coming from with it's not a named storm yet. Like we would have never worried about it as a family who literally lost our house. My mom and dad completely lost their house, totally destroyed in Hurricane Celia. And as I was growing up, mom and dad never would have made a decision until it was 2 days out, right? So I feel it. I didn't grow up as a big orange rocket or anything like that. I wasn't a government agency or anything, but I sort of get it. But clearly, like the bar that NASA needs to leap over is different than the bar that we leapt over as a family growing up there on the Gulf Coast. I got it, but it's like, ugh, NASA.
And it's
come on.
also the problem of hurricanes. Like, unless they are really really big, usually their track, the path of destruction is very narrow, but still it's like if it moves like 30 miles to one side, you might be spared, but then if it doesn't, it's like you're right in the middle. So it's like you don't know that until hours before that. So it's like, yeah, as you said, you have to always be prepared for that kind of occasion, because it's super changing. It's a dynamic situation.
Yeah, it even came down to like if the hurricane was going to move and go on one side of us, it wasn't a big deal. But if it went on the other side of us, it was like the motion of the hurricane added with the winds. And there is a bad side for landfall and a good side for landfall. Like if you have a house that's on the coast there, or a facility that's on the coast, like even just the side of you that it goes on drastically can change the amount of rainfall really you get, and wind speeds and stuff like that. So like not an easy decision to make. And they were sort of waiting to see, I guess, sort of punting, just trying to get one more down out of it and see when they actually had to make that decision before they rolled the rocket back. I'm
Was that
curious.
a helmet ball reference
It
on
was.
an NSF stream?
Oh,
I
man.
tried.
Oh,
Wow.
I'm operating the stream here today. Yes.
That's probably why I
Jeez.
didn't get it.
Thomas, how are those clouds doing, by the way? It looks like we got some clouds. We get to see a rocket today?
There's a little bit of clouds, but there's also plenty of patches of blue sky. I think we'll get some of that rocket traveling between layers of clouds coming out the other side effect, as long as a bunch of other clouds don't mysteriously appear. We should have a pretty good, it should be a cool view tonight.
Excellent.
Awesome. Well, that is good. Oh, wow, look at that. Wow. We have an awesome super chat. Holy cow, my goodness. When we get super chats like this, just hard to even comprehend. Beth Sanders just gave us a $200 super chat, simply saying thank you for providing this coverage. Wow, thank you, Beth. My goodness, this is what makes it possible. Thank you.
And I saw someone saying, I'm subscribed and I had my likes, but I don't have any money to join. It's like, it's okay. Anything helps. Like anything you can do, it's sort of the same thing that always any sort of YouTube channel says, but that's how the algorithm works, right? If you like the content that we do, hit the like, subscribe, the bell, and all of that stuff, because that does help, that does add to support us, even if you don't have any money at all. But that is a great thing that you can do. Yep.
Absolutely. Yes. And thank you, Beth, for that. And thank you, everyone, for watching and tuning in and supporting us. Remember we were having that conversation about the 4 little towers there and what we should name them? We have a new name suggestion from Keith. Keith says, how about Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and Mo?
Nice.
Yeah. No takers? All right. But I guess we're not naming them that.
The fourth one should be Donald, I guess. or Scrooge. I don't know. It's like the other 2 ducks.
Oh boy.
Well,
all right.
Just Stacy. But
Here's a technical question for you, Alex, which I think you probably will know the answer to. From D-Bull Horse, saying, is it just a coincidence that booster landing and second stage cutoff occur nearly simultaneously on these missions, or is it a physics reason?
That's a great question. There might be a physical reason in things like energy and things like that, but I haven't really looked at it. I think it's just at this point mostly a coincidence, because on some missions, especially in the shape of the trajectory that they do, if it's a very lofty trajectory, it hangs out a little bit more in that apogee, in that highest point in the trajectory, and so it takes longer. So we've seen some trajectories of the Falcon 9 where the landing is like 11 minutes or 12 minutes past the T0 time. Whereas on some other missions, like this one, is around 8 minutes or so, which is around the same time as Miko. It's like, not Miko, Siko. So it's a few seconds of difference between both events. But on some missions, as I said, it just depends on the trajectory. If it's a more lofty trajectory, because it hangs out for longer in that apogee, in that highest point, then it takes longer to come back, and it basically takes like 3 or 4 minutes more. But yeah, the reason might just come to a little bit of physics in how the trajectory shapes up the timings of everything.
Interesting. With orbital mechanics or something that still puzzle me to this day. Hey, Das, I know you probably have something to say about this piece of support and super chat that we got here. Brandon's saying, did anyone watch the Jay Leno tour of Starbase? Did they see the Starbase live one on the big screens at the TV in one of the tents? Did you notice that, Das?
Yes, a lot of people sent that to us. Apparently, when Jay Leno's garage thing was going through one of the tents at Starbase, our 24/7 stream, Starbase Live, was on the wall behind the folks that were wrenching on a Raptor. So somebody over there at Starbase in the production side must be watching our stream to keep an eye on what's going on. But a lot of people did see that. That was actually really cool to see. I hope that some of the SpaceX folks there, while they're like wrenching on a Raptor, are looking out there being like, man, I'm glad I'm in this tent and not out there on the orbital launch mount or whatever. I don't know if that's what's going through their mind, but yeah, absolutely. Somebody sent that. A lot of people sent that to us. That was really cool to see.
Definitely. Pittsbod came in with some super chat support. Thank you. He said, great coverage, and you are there in person. Yes, we have confirmed that both Thomas and Julia are there in person with the NSF merch check here. That is confirmed. I was going to say, like,
check.
Yeah, merch check has been confirmed. I don't know. We need
Is this
some
going to
kind
become a ritual
of
for the
down.
launches now that we have those cameras, or what?
Uh-huh.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
I got to make sure I'm
Yeah.
I got to make a uniform for it, I guess.
You got to have on your pieces of flair, Thomas.
Oh boy. Here's a pretty good question from Joshua asking, how many Starlink launches is SpaceX allowed to have? I know that they have a number of satellites that they are currently authorized to have, and they have some more that they want, right? But how many launches is that, or what are we expecting there?
Don't think they have any sort of limit in the launches. They do have a series of like a number of Starlink satellites that they have licensed to operate in orbit. Right now they have they have coverage for, so they are licensed to do the whole first generation of a Starlink. They have also some old permit, some old license that they had for like a very low Earth orbit constellation. I think they have abandoned that. They're not going to use it. And then they are seeking approval for the license to operate Starlink V2, the second generation of a Starlink. That's coming on Starship.
Awesome. And another awesome question from Cody Box saying, who builds the Starlink satellites? Is it SpaceX themselves, or do they have a contractor?
Yeah, that's totally SpaceX. They probably, I guess, have parts from other companies, but I don't think they like to build everything in-house. They usually use vendors for some parts, but that's it. Like, some parts are made by vendors. That's how
Super basic
SpaceX goes.
components, yeah. But I think even SpaceX manufactures their own solar cells and things like that. So
yeah, that's true. Yep.
The vast majority will be SpaceX themselves.
Even some of the coding that they have now for, you know, the basically lowering the brightness of the satellites, they even have their own kind of proprietary material for that coding of the satellite and everything. That's super cool.
Interesting. Okay, we are 3 minutes and 50 seconds-ish away from this Falcon 9 lifting off. Can we get a quick status check on this vehicle, see how it's going? And I mean, I know we're all sitting here chatting and having fun, but we are here for a reason.
One thing that I love of this view, now that you said status check, is that the Stromback can be seen retracting ahead of launch. That's why I like this view.
Yeah. This is kind of a nice angle, and I want to just report that there is a little bit more blue sky than when we originally talked about how many clouds Thomas will have to track through.
Okay. So, yeah, as far as we know, this is all good to go. We are expecting a launch in just about 3 minutes. We have a strong back retract.
So far, so good.
And so far, so good, according to Alex, which if Alex says it, means it's
I'm listening to the comms, yeah.
Trying to make sure
and
I've pointed
RP1
the
load complete.
RP1 load complete. Thanks, Alex.
Nice.
I'm
Yep.
trying to make sure I've pointed the robotic tracking camera over the right tree. Like we can't see 40 from the camera position here with the Space Coast Live cameras, but it's going to appear over one of those trees. I think I've got it in the right spot. It was easier last time I did this because it was really dark and the sky was lit up right above the launch pad. So we're like, oh, there's a pad. It's right there. But I'm sure Thomas will have it because Thomas got eyes on the rocket there. So, woo.
Wish me luck.
Absolutely.
I'm going to try this one too, y'all, because if this works correctly, we'll be able to see 2 Falcon 9s on the screen at the same time, but the cloud deck may be a little bit too low. The booster that just came back to port is there, and then the other booster that's on 40 is behind the main structure of the ship that's parked conveniently in our way. So anyways, T-minus 2 minutes, I'll stop playing with the cameras. No, I won't. Who am I kidding?
You better keep playing with the cameras, but make sure they're pointed the right way.
We should be coming
so
up on wrapping up the liquid oxygen load on the second stage, and that will mean the whole rocket is already fueled and getting ready for flight. Oh, I just heard that call out, so it's complete. Propellant load is complete on the rocket.
wonderful to hear, and that means we're expecting in about 30 seconds the flight. In about 30 seconds, at about T-minus 1 minute, we'll have the flight computers take control. Right?
Yep, they will take control of the countdown, and that's going to be all automated from the onboard computers.
Wonderful. And we're sitting here about 1 minute away from launch of Starlink 4-35 with 52 internet satellites getting delivered into low Earth orbit for SpaceX's Starlink internet constellation.
And in startup,
Cool.
This is always just so much fun. All the anticipation right as we get right up to T0, just sitting here.
and the launch
Excited.
directories go for launch. So there we go.
For launch. Yippee skippy. 30 seconds.
Oh, I can see the water, I think.
Oh, is that the deluge?
Here we go.
And
There.
4, 3, 2. Ignition. Liftoff of Starlink 4-35.
Oop.
Oop. Nice positioning. And beautiful track.
We'll get the rumble here shortly. Look at it going into the clouds there.
Wow.
Wow.
So awesome. The light of the Falcon 9 just kind of gets as bright as the sun. It goes through those clouds. So pretty.
Good through max Q. I think that's now getting the sunlight from the
Mm-hmm.
sun. It's getting
The
From the
sunlight
sun.
from the sun.
Yeah.
Sunlight from a star.
As you can see, I'm not very bright.
Oh, jeez. Thanks, Alex.
I do love this part of the flight when like the plume is expanding from the decreasing pressure on the atmosphere.
Yep.
That's always gorgeous. Should be approaching Miko in 10 seconds. And Miko. And that's confirmation of ignition of the second stage MVAC engine.
And that is definitely the plume getting lit up there, wouldn't you say?
I'd say so.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not the same totally dark background that we see sometimes, but that is definite plume expansion right there.
And the fairings.
Look at that. Oh,
That's
Thomas, good
gorgeous.
job.
That's pretty awesome.
Wow. Look at that jellyfish. With the fairings. My goodness.
Like flying in formation now.
It's a UFO. Look out.
Yeah, right.
Actually, it's
Oh
not
my
unidentified. It's Starlink 435.
That's just the
fact that-
Go ahead,
The
Julia.
fact that I can see this with my own eyes, what you guys are seeing zoomed in, is absolutely bonkers.
Thrusters.
Wow. Thrusters
Look,
on. Yeah, yeah. Look at that. Whoa.
Starting to get some thruster
Whoa.
firings.
Look at that. Wow.
That is so cool.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
As they just said on the stream, those fairing halves, one of them is flying today for a 5th time and the other for a 4th time. So that's a lot of flights already.
Those fairings know what they're about.
How many
Yeah.
of these dots are firing thrusters?
I
Well,
think-
there should be
Well-
3 of them.
There should be three
Three,
dots.
because yeah, fairings have thrusters too.
Yeah.
Like looking at it, I almost I could have swore that I saw
Look at the
multiple
exhaust.
dots firing thrusters. Yeah.
Yep. The crazy thing is they have a landing zone area to get to as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I bet you Thomas is going to be able to reacquire this when it comes out of the cloud. So we're going to keep watching right here. This is interesting. I'll keep watching on that. Here is the view actually from SpaceX, but I want to keep an eye on Thomas's so we can see that from the ground. We've seen this before, like the SpaceX thing with, okay, there's an engine, there's some grid fins. That's fantastic, right? I really want to see if Thomas can reacquire those.
No pressure, Thomas. But the entire
pressure.
stream's depending on you.
Yeah, we're all counting on you.
I'm looking.
Just that one cloud there. What
That
a cool
booster
launch to
has-
see.
Yeah. I mean, these Twilight launches are always awesome. And now the comeback of the booster, now it's going to be the reverse. It's going to come from sunlight to darkness. And it's going to come with all those, like all the plasma and all the bits flying and everything. If they keep the views, that should be awesome. And oh
Yeah.
my God.
Thomas has got it back. And are those the fairings?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
should be
Yeah.
them.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the fairings calling. Yeah.
Thomas.
Look at
That
that.
is great. Whoa.
Oh, okay. Thomas is telling me, you guys, that's actually stage 1.
So are those two fairings in stage 1?
Oh, right.
That's what
Yeah.
he's saying. Thumbs up. That's it, Das.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the second stage will have the exhaust plume, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's the one at the bottom. That's the first stage. Oh, can you imagine if we see the
Look
entry
at
burn?
that. This cloud
Oh,
may ruin
cloud.
our day here.
Let's
No.
hope.
Clouds
Let's
are
cross our
gonna-
fingers.
And we may, sometimes you'll get a little slot under the cloud or it'll come out through that. Y'all, this is really interesting.
Should be
To be
any
able to
time.
see that so far downrange. I'm keeping an eye for the drone ship landing and stuff. Don't worry. They're coming up on entry burn, though, right now, it looks
Yep.
like. I hope people aren't screaming like, oh my gosh, show the engine that you've seen 15,000 times because, Starlink launches. I'm just really curious. Here, fine. Here's the engine. And if I see Thomas get the bright light of the entry burn, we're going to swap right back over to it. Bam! Look at that.
There you go.
Oh, just for a second above those clouds off in the distance. And now it's on the
Nice.
far side of those clouds. So here's the SpaceX feed of the entry burn.
See, but if the clouds weren't there, we will have seen it because Thomas is a pro.
So there is that entry burn shutdown. As it continues on its way down to the drone ship here.
Yeah, it should be coming down in about a minute or so. That should be the landing burn with one single engine,
Wow.
the center engine.
Yeah. Maybe too many clouds over there on the far horizon from the Space Coast, but I've got a couple cameras pointed out wide that way, and we're keeping an eye on them.
I mean, if the cameras can see the landing, I'm gonna start believing flat earthers. Oh man! Oh, look at that! Look at that lightning! Like not
Isn't that
lightning,
cool?
as in the illumination. There you go.
Yep.
The light
So-
conditions.
Coming up on the landing burn, a couple things at once. The Seco and landing right next to each other, but we'll see if we see a little spark way off in the distance of that landing burn. We may not, because that's looking through a lot of places where clouds like to form.
I can see. I think I can see the light of the drone ship through the.
Yeah.
Yep.
Me too.
Yep.
There's the landing burn. Right through a cloud. That's so cool.
Jeez.
This rock solid video. Wow.
There's the drone ship.
There's the drone ship. Yep. What?
And
No way. Another perfect landing
Bullseye.
on A Shortfall
Nailed
of
it.
Gravitas.
easy.
Congratulations,
Oh,
SpaceX.
so pretty.
Wow.
Look at that ship rock. Wow. That's an
Ah,
impressive
yeah.
landing for how much that ship is rocking right now, guys.
Look at the horizon, Julia.
It's beautiful.
I mean, Julia saw it first. She's the one that drew my attention to it. But yo, look at the horizon, the sunset in the background moving up and down. That's because the drone ship is rolling with the waves out there in the Atlantic.
That's cool. I love that view.
Here's some
And-
Starlinks.
Yep. I just heard that they have confirmed good orbit and everything is happy and nice up there.
Well, I'm happy and nice down here because that was a beautiful launch.
Nice.
That was definitely something I don't remember seeing here before. The fairings that clearly on the way down, that was super cool.
Yeah. That was amazing to see all 4 dots. Like sometimes we see 2 dots, right? You've got the second stage that's continuing on its way out on the mission, and then the first stage is coming in for a landing. And the fairings, we know they come off, but they're not visible for very long most of the time. And this time, you could really see the 4 distinct pieces of the system: the booster, the second stage continuing on its way to orbit with the Starlink satellites on it, and then the 2 fairings all coming down independently. That was a really great check, Thomas. Good job.
Yes.
I'm
Thank
super
you.
proud of Thomas. That
Me too.
reminds me also, like when we watch launches with rocket boosters that deploy, we get kind of a dance like that. But how unique with the fairings.
Yeah. So we've ended up on my favorite shot here today.
Wow. So I've just seen a comment from someone that just basically sent me a picture from New Jersey.
Okay.
They have seen these launch all the way that north.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh boy.
Launch. I'm updating the ticker, so it says Falcon 9 has launched the Starlink 435 mission
Yeah.
with
It
52
has.
internet satellites aboard. Look how
And
correct.
sometimes
the,
we get asked, why don't you keep, streaming and everything, the satellite? SpaceX doesn't really cover that anymore with the Starlink because that's like,
Yeah.
that's the boring part. But,
Yeah.
if you want to see us streaming that, just, satellite fun.
They also
We
don't
stream it
always
from a
actually
satellite.
have. They don't also always have ground station coverage for the exact deploy time. So the upper stage autonomously deploys the satellites, and then the next time the whole group of spacecraft pass over a ground station, they confirm that they've separated. So it doesn't
Right.
make sense to wait around. But yeah, so Well, we'll just give you an empty launch pad for now.
Empty launch pads are the best launch pads. Well, I guess
Well,
recently emptied launch pads. How about that?
yeah. Still warm, but empty launch pads. How's that?
Yes. Still a little bit of a what did Julia say? Rocket poop?
Right. Yes, I think that's what Julia said.
Also,
I'm not.
I just remembered that this is the 69th consecutive landing of a Falcon 9 booster in a row since the last failure of a landing. So
Who's
that's
gonna
very
say it?
nice.
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 Yeah.
69.
Somebody
Very
had to
Always
say
nice.
nice.
Nice. Oh boy. Okay. Well, we have had an awesome coverage here. Man, Thomas is tracking. DOS's switching was, I guess, passable, but
Thanks,
definitely
Nick.
Thomas's tracking was superb and amazing.
Jeez.
Does Nick? You got to be nice to Does. He's the one that tells you to like go mess with robots and stuff.
Well, I don't know. I'm hosting this, so maybe I have let the power and control go to my head a little much. So perhaps we should spool up this stream and get this.
So, anyways, folks, you're not going to hear Nick's microphone anymore because he seems to forget who has all the levers and pulleys in his hands. Nick, we appreciate you. He can still hear us, but he can't talk anymore. Remember the Matrix when Neo's mouth was like shut by the agents? Yeah, I can do that. And you can't hear anything that Nick is trying to say. What was that, Nick? What? Oh, I didn't hear you. What? Chat? Do y'all hear? I don't think we hear that. Okay,
Oh,
Nick, you can
man.
talk again. You're
All
fine.
right, fine. I'll be nicer, I guess. Well, hey, we got to hit some super
Do not
chats.
make me be mom. I do not want to be mom.
Wait, like mission operations manager or?
Ooh.
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 Well,
just assume so.
I'll take that. Yes. I am operating this whole mission right here. So behave.
So we have a couple
Yes, ma'am.
cool things coming up, by the way, y'all. Y'all can hear Nick again, right? Chat. Okay, y'all can hear
Yes,
Nick,
I can.
right?
I'm here. I'm back.
Okay,
Hello.
good. Okay. We've actually got a couple more cool streams coming up. I believe tomorrow on Sunday, we're going to be doing the first ever, what are we going to call it? Like VAB side chat? Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
mean we can be Kerbal players and call it the VAB side chat or something?
Yeah.
Ooh,
But it's-
Vab side chat.
It's easier to say if it's VAB side chat. Like VAB side chat doesn't really roll off the tongue, let's say. But we are going to be doing a let's say Space Coast side chat. That might work. Tomorrow here on the channel, in place of the normal NSF Live, we're going to be using the new cameras that we have deployed for Space Coast Live and do some live commentary tomorrow, just like we do over on Starbase Live. So, of course, we will be updating the information on that. And Thomas and Julia, if y'all want, y'all can go ahead and pack up, because I've got plenty of cameras to choose from. Y'all want to see the VAB? Isn't that a good shot of the VAB?
Yes.
shot of the
Oh, look at that Vab shot.
It really is.
Mm.
Look at this. We got 39A.
what?
Yes.
Das, I think I'm going to take you up on that because, we were talking about the security.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mosquitoes, they like the dark.
Go.
They're eating now. So I'm going to retreat to my car and help Thomas carry gear, but we're going to listen to you while we walk.
Excellent. I'm just going to leave it on 39A for now because we are keen. Sometimes you see sparks coming off the tower and stuff like that. We saw the strong back and the reaction frame and stuff roll up and down and that sort of stuff. Go vertical and go away. Sometimes you see the crew access arm going back and forth as SpaceX works on it. But we do have that coming up tomorrow, where we'll be doing we'll be doing some commentary. Of course, we'll be updating you on what's going on with that hurricane track as Ian comes in, where they think that's going to go and how that's potentially going to affect SLS and the Artemis 1 launch. And then on Monday, we have another very cool thing that NASA Spaceflight has actually not done before. On Monday, DART. Everybody remember DART? What is it? It's like the dinosaur asteroid revenge trajectory or something like that. Like we're literally crashing a spacecraft into an asteroid on purpose on Monday. And that has been flying for around a year now. And Monday at 7:14 Eastern Daylight Time is when the probe is supposed to crash into the asteroid. We are going to have a mission manager and a scientist from the mission live with us on a special NSF stream when the impact occurs. So we'll be going live a little while before the impact, talking to them about the mission, see the status. There's actually going to be a live cam, if you can call it that, at 1 frame per second, but I'll take it, a live cam off the mission itself so you can see the asteroid approaching. And we will be talking with mission specialist and a mission manager during the impact on Monday when DART, it's the asteroid redirect, the double asteroid redirect mission is what DART is. And we will be doing a special stream on Monday as part of our outreach with Intrepid Museum. So if you want to see what's going on, NASA's going to have their official NASA TV stream, right? You know how that is. That's fine. Watch the official stream. But we are also going to have some very special guests who are actually on the DART team hanging out with us live when the impact is occurring, like leading up to the time as the probe approaches the asteroid. I will be doing that. And our good friend Alicia Siegel from Intrepid Museum will be joining us for that on Monday as well. So be on the lookout for that again. The Space Coast Live side, VAB side chat coming up tomorrow on Sunday, and then Monday, that special stream for DART, the DART impact at 7:14 Eastern time in the evening when the probe is supposed to crash into the asteroid. We do have some super chats we need to get through as well. Can you grab those, Nick?
Sure, absolutely. Got some super chats while I believe Thomas was doing all the tracking here. A couple people super chatted. Ian came in, said, good job with the tracking. Proud to support you guys. Thank you so much, Ian. We appreciate your support. Remy Turk came in and says, thanks for the awesome jellyfish on behalf of my wife and me in the middle of the night. Well, thank you. And it was euros. Am I hearing an echo on myself? I think I am. Uh-oh.
You're sounding good to us, I think, though.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to still blame it on DOS's button-pushing abilities. Let's see. Gravelly Dawn also sent us a very generous piece of support, but did not leave a question or a message. So we do appreciate that, and thank you very much. Keith also sent in some support and said, first there was Fleet Cam, then there was event coverage in Boca Chica, then Starbase, and then McGregor Live 24/7. Now there's Space Coast Live 24/7. Yay! Thanks for all the awesome coverage. Well, that's what happens when you give DOS robots and some robot pellets, or whatever robots eat.
Just keep showing up. They eat the love and affection of the viewers. That sounds wrong, but you know what I mean. The more y'all show up and the more y'all experience these streams with us, the more we're able to do that is very cool. Like, zoom in extremely on the NASA meatball. Like, this is totally enabled by your support right here. Thanks, Chad.
How many gallons of paint did it take to paint the meatball? I'm sure that number is somewhere, and I'm sure someone knows it, but that person is not me, and that answer will not happen right now. But yes, thank you. Fawn Link, go ahead.
No, sorry for the camera change there. Yeah. It it pans and tilts faster than it zooms, so it was looking at nothing for a second while the zoom caught up. My bad.
I see. See, button pushing. Fawn Lake says, thanks again. We appreciate it. We got a naming suggestion on the 4 towers from Vanguard. Zeus, Thor, Iandora, and Apotekiwilia. I'm not going to try that. I did look that up earlier. Thank you. Maybe. And that is an Inca mythology. So that is cool. Probably all lightning gods.
Is it Indra?
Andra?
And how did you? Yeah, and how did you say it?
It's probably Indra, yeah.
Yeah, Alex, how do you pronounce the other one?
I have no idea how to pronounce that, but I guess Apocatequil.
I'll take it.
That sounded way more official than whatever I did.
Probably closer than our guesses. Thanks, Alex. Sorry.
Yes.
I have no idea about Inca names, but that sounded better.
Thomas Tate says, just something dumb, but imagine this. Starbase water gun fight, and someone shows up with the OLM, unfair advantage. Yes, that is a lot of water that comes out of the OLM. Got some support from LoveWatt01. Says, I sat through the Hurricane Celia in 1970. Rough day.
There you go.
Yikes. Hopefully that guy does not sit through a hurricane. We send all the best and all the love to the Orange Rocket. Here's a from Wigan Creative. Hey Wigan, I know Wigan Creative. Howdy. He said, here's a couple bucks in for the Launch Air Fund. Thanks for the great coverage. Thank you, Wigan. Appreciate that. Matthew is watching from Orlando Airport. Couldn't make the launch due to a flight. Thanks for your awesome coverage. No problem. And that's what we're here for, to help you catch all the launches that happen all around the world, because we just had one at Vandy just a few hours ago. So If you were trying to catch every single launch today, you would have had to basically fly an SR-71 Blackbird from Vandy to Florida. And even then, I don't even know if you would make it. Maybe Starship point to point.
I think I'll just watch on YouTube, honestly.
That's actually way
Yeah.
easier.
It is way easier to just watch on YouTube.
Exactly. And probably better views, too. Mark Lamb says, let's start a fundraiser to help NSF camera team get a rideshare camera into orbit for even more coverage. You know,
Cool.
I know Das well enough to know that he would not want to stick a camera in orbit. He does not like putting cameras anywhere. So I
That
don't
sounds
know.
terrible. Yeah, jeez. Hey, sign me up. I mean, I'm game.
Me too. I'll go help install it, and if we ever need maintenance, I'll be happy to go maintain it.
Wait, like in orbit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you saying
take
you'll
it.
go to orbit to install the camera?
Oh yeah, I will. I will ride with Jared on one of the Polaris Dawn missions and do the Polaris Dawn mission. We can. Actually, that's a good idea. We can get a little CubeSat up there, deploy
Nice.
it by hand. Sounds like fun.
Just like throw it out the Dragon capsule. Like, okay,
Throw it out the
here it
window.
goes. Yeah.
Hey, if the Russians do it on their EVAs, you can do it too.
Yeah, exactly. Another bit of chat from another bit of support and chat from Joseph says, out here at Soundpoint SpaceX Ops, shout out to Thomas, Das, and Julia. So
Nice.
shout out to you guys. Jeremy says, thanks for the stream, guys. Always the best. Appreciate it. Thank you. We try.
We have a lot of fun. We do have a lot of fun doing it. I hope
So
that
here's-
comes across. Go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
Here's a question here. I don't really know the answer to. Delta launches have a full plume of exhaust from liftoff. Falcon 9 launches will have a brief trail just before max Q. What is the science behind this? Is that an SRB difference?
No, they're talking about how the Falcon 9, right? It looks like the exhaust is clean a lot of the way up, right? And then right as it's approaching max Q, you get the vapor trail that starts to form behind it. I actually can't exactly explain the physics behind that, but now I will go and find out. I know it's something all the time. It's like, approaching max Q, crossing max Q, then you see that plume start to form right in that max Q area, but I can't tell you, it's because as it crosses through, the vapor compresses via shock fronts on the left side of the, I don't know.
That sounded good to me. That sounds perfect.
I probably just should have taken a swing with that, and then I'd get angry people on Twitter that like, I have a PhD in rocket plume topology, and that's wrong. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I was kidding, dude. Come on. But we can certainly find out. I mean, unless Alex, do you know? I don't know the exact physics as to makes
I'm
that
not
appear all of a sudden.
fully sure about the question here. I think the Delta launches have the exhaust redder even because of the ablative the ablative coating on the engine for cooling, for example, so you can see it. But once it is out of the atmosphere, it's a little bit more clear because it doesn't have atmospheric oxygen to be able to burn and be seen. So I'm not sure. Maybe that's the difference here.
Yeah, I don't
Not
know.
fully sure.
I am going to look into that because that's like we see it every single launch when there's a nice clear day. You can see that trail form at a specific time, and it would be interesting to be able to say exactly why it works. Good question, though.
Absolutely. Good question. Last couple super chats here. Both Andy and Thomas came in with some support, but they did not ask a question. So just wanted to take a minute and thank them for the support. And then last question here is from Musical Wolves. It says, how many cranes to paint the meatball? Well, I don't know. Do you think we can get a view of the meatball, Das? I don't know. That might be a little too difficult. Might
do that here. Oh, bang! There you go.
There it is. Wow, look at that. Pushing buttons.
It's amazing.
That would be probably more than one crane to paint the meatball, if I had to guess. But perhaps NASA does it differently than SpaceX would.
And I think they come down from the top, actually. Like I remember being out there for a couple lunches where they were refreshing those paint jobs up there, and it's like a window washer. In like a high rise down in the big city or whatever, they come down from the top and they have an entire system up there where they can lower these, little work platforms down and paint the meatball.
Yeah. All right.
So zero cranes.
So zero cranes.
Answer is zero cranes. Yes.
Zero cranes.
It had to be either zero or a lot. That's usually very of the answers in mathematics if you're very versed in that field.
It's either zero or more than, or it's either zero or not zero.
100%. Roll counting. It's like 0, 1, many, lots.
Yep.
Come on, Terry Pratchett fans. Somebody in chat.
I
Anyways.
I think that's a good indication. We should be done here.
We should
Hey,
stop torturing.
I've been joined this evening by by a whole host of NSF panel team member people, talkers, people. I'm spiraling. Look out. Thomas and Julia joined us on comms earlier today. Thomas was the one providing the awesome tracking shot earlier. So thank you to Thomas, our news director. I do not believe is on comms to say goodbye, so we'll say goodbye for him. Thank you, Thomas, for joining us, and also Julia. Check out her Twitter. We will be getting some awesome pictures. I have not been on Twitter yet since the launch, but I'm sure she'll have some very beautiful pictures for us momentarily. Also, I believe we had Steven out in the field earlier today, so we'll see. Check out his Twitter as well if he got any good shots. In the studio, Mr. Alex joined me. Thank you for joining, Alex. Appreciate your time and expertise.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm always here.
Well, I'm glad to have you. And back there pushing buttons and pulling levers and feeding robots is, I guess, begrudgingly, this guy named Das. Thank you for joining us, Das. Thank you for pushing the buttons, and thank you for unmuting me.
You're welcome, Nick. It's always a pleasure.
Likewise. And I've been Nick Sweeney, and this has been the NASA Spaceflight Starlink 4-35 coverage.
Wait, is that like the end?
I don't know. How do you end it? Why don't you end it, Das?
You gotta have like a catchphrase, Nick. You have to be like, and this is Nick and Sweeney, and that's the way the cookie crumbles, or something.
This is the way thing. Well, how about this? I'll think of a catchphrase, and I will workshop it with a bunch of really smart people who are not myself, and then we'll come up with catchphrase later. But in the meantime, this is Nick and Sweeney. Catchphrase.
Insert catchphrase here.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
chamber pressure looks good. Doubling up. Roger, roll with Atlantic.
Water towers can fly! Yes!
Echo Delta nominal.
Flight outside SC off. Say again, SC off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.